The Serie A for me is a league that has kind of been surrounded in mystery. Just the same as any other British person, of course, we're prone to ignorance. Meaning that apart from the big teams that you see playing in the Champions League or maybe the Europa League to an extent, my knowledge on the Serie A and Italian football in general is, well, a little bit lacking. Well, in this video, I'm going to be going to Italy and I'm going to be watching 2 games in the Serie A this weekend. The first of the 2 is actually tonight. I'm flying to Italy today. And it's Monza versus Juventus. Monza sit joint bottom of the Serie A with 10 points, whereas Juventus sitting at 6th place in a Conference League spot at the moment on 28 points. It's a must-win for both teams. Of course, Juventus probably expected to win. Monza need to win. Even if they win, they still sit second bottom of the table, but they need to break that streak. Whereas Juventus surely will not be happy settling for Conference League football. However, without a win in the last 4 games in the league, it could be interesting. And tomorrow night it's Inter versus Como at the San Siro. Inter currently sit in 3rd spot with 2 games in hand on Napoli. Winning tomorrow, depending on results, can put them 2nd, and of course if they win both games in hand, then they will be top of the league. Como sit in 16th place on 15 points just above the relegation zone, but a win could take them, well, way up that league table. Depending on results, they actually could go above Roma and end up in 12th position. Now the San Siro is kind of a bucket list ground for any football fan, the home of both Inter and AC Milan. However, with initial reports saying that the San Siro was to be knocked down, now it's not to be knocked down, but both clubs may be potentially looking to move out of the San Siro to a newer ground. Its future is a little bit touch and go, and yeah, well, it's time. I'm not really sure what to expect, but I'm looking forward to it. Now, I've only actually been to Italy once before, and it was last year. Made the mistake of hiring a car. Driving on the Italian roads is not a good idea. Luckily, you don't have to drive this time. So one way or another, you've got to get to Italy. We'll touch on this later in the video, but can we just talk about football tops nowadays? They're so bad. This shirt will set you back £70 and there's literally cotton already hanging off it. They need to stop with the fan shirt, stadium shirt, player's shirt, and charging hundreds of pounds. It's just stupid. Anyway, before long, it was time to get on the way. Yeah, the weather was bad. Just listen to this. There's no better combination than wind and a plane. Anyway, let's just get there. Because of the weather, we landed with a bit of a delay, which means that we missed the train that we booked. And then that also meant that well, we're probably going to struggle to actually make it to the Monza game on time. With the Italian train system absolutely mastered after we missed our train to the Monza match, and the statutory pizza bites from the McDonald's in the train station, we were hoping just about to make the kickoff. We missed the first 5 minutes of the match as stupid wind. Well, the atmosphere was really good all the way through the game. Both sets of fans, crazy good, and also the stadium was really cool. Nothing like you'd ever see, or nothing like I've ever really seen in person before, to be honest.
I didn't realise everyone was Juventus fans. It's his home end.
So Juventus made it 1-0 in the 40th minute through Weston McKennie. We didn't realise we were in such a rush just to get sat down and just to start watching the game that majority of the people around us were Juventus fans in the home end, which is, you know, just quite funny. A lot of people actually had Juventus tops on and most of them had scarves. Monza managed to grab an equaliser not long later in the 22nd minute, and let me tell you, it was a very nice goal. I didn't quite, you know, catch it on camera, but it was a brilliant goal. Juventus took the lead again in the 39th minute, Nicolas Gonzalez scoring the goal for Juve. It was a bit scrappy, but it was a goal nonetheless. Now, Monza's stadium is very unique. However, I'd say arguably the most interesting thing about the stadium is you can actually see the toilets from the stands. What a feat of engineering. Just to clarify, there was actual toilets. Now, admittedly, not much happened in the second half, and to be honest, the overall quality of football was lacking a little bit from both teams. The Monza fans definitely knew how to keep themselves entertained. Forza Monza Jingle Bells, do you think it could catch on? Anyway, the game finished 2-1, not much else happened, but I have a few observations from this match. First of all, both teams did lack a bit of quality, although there was still a pretty big gap between the two teams. Juventus were, definitely way better. Monza's number 77, very good on the ball. He was probably the best player. I don't know if it's like a common thing in Italian football grounds, but there was lots of people just like smoking. Now, I mean, I could just be being ignorant. It's very possible, but I mean, that sort of thing doesn't happen in England at all. Like you just end up being kicked out. But no one really seemed to care at all. Strange. Also, it was absolutely freezing, but it was very good. A great experience. Even though the quality of football wasn't the greatest, it was just a very enjoyable experience. It's something that I've never really experienced before. That stadium was insane. And like I said before, the atmosphere was, off the scale. Monza were pretty poor in the game, and this game actually got Nesta the sack, Nesta being the manager of the previous manager of Monza, as it is now. All in all, it was brilliant. Time to move on. Now the next day, the day of the Inter versus Como match, we had pretty much all day to kill. I mean, the game wasn't until 8:45 and we were in Milan, so we basically just went around Milan and saw what there was to be seen. It was a really nice place. Of course, we're here for football, so I'm not going to show too much of what we saw, but here's a little bit.
I'd say the train station itself is pretty impressive.
Very nice. Anyway, before long, it was time to get to the San Siro. I've got to say, the sheer size of the stadium when you're outside is completely and utterly overwhelming. It's impressive. Now, something I thought that was very interesting is before you even got into the ground, before you'd even scanned your ticket and got in, there was a lot of like food stalls where you can buy just a massive variety of food and loads of merchandise stands. And a lot of these merchandise stands were selling fake tops, which is just a little bit crazy. The fact that they're selling fake tops right outside the stadium. And there was official merchandise stands and then a lot of unofficial. It was just a strange one. A lot of people were buying these fake shirts, but I don't really blame them because of the prices of the actual shirts that are good quality. The price is just way too high.
So 120 euros, 170 euros. It's just insanity.
Anyway, it's time to get to our seats.
So there's no gym in the hotel. That's fine because I've got to go all the way up there.
After kicking some people out of our seats, trying to use our fluent Italian, then realising they weren't actually Italian themselves and didn't speak Italian, they were actually Polish, we were sat down and ready for the game to start. Yeah, it's very easy to tell where the expensive seats are in the San Siro, because it seems like very few people actually sit in them. Having said that, the expensive seats at Monza were 120 euros and the expensive seats at Milan were only 60 euros, so that kind of tells the story. Something I noticed, does anybody know why they cover these seats up? They do it on both sides. Not sure why. The first half was dead, and nothing happened.
Just hope for a goal, please.
Yeah, I think they must have had a talking to at half-time because in the 48th minute, Inter took the lead through Carlos Augusto, and it was from a corner. Not a bad goal at all. And they scored again in the 92nd minute to seal the deal just before the end of the game. Marcus Thuram with a really, really nice finish. But that was pretty much that. Now, one thing I have noticed, both the San Siro and Como, the seats just aren't comfy. I don't really think the Italian football stadiums, when they were built, really took comfort into consideration, and I guess most of them are a bit older. Now, again, so many people smoking in the stadium, it's just completely alien to me. I assume it's probably not allowed, just not many people really are that bothered about it. And the only thing I've got to say is, I couldn't get a programme. I wanted to get a match programme, and I don't know if they just don't do them. But we were there 3 hours before, and I couldn't find a match programme. I've got to say, the quality on show in terms of football, Como were completely off it. You could tell they were trying. You could tell they had a manager like Fabregas. They were pressing high at the start of the game, although I thought they got tired pretty quickly, but they didn't offer much. And to be honest, Inter looks a bit off it too. There wasn't a massive amount of quality on show, other than Thuram's goal really at the end. But all in all, it was an incredible experience. The San Siro is insane. I don't really have words to describe it, just because it's so unique and just humongous and historic. The next morning, it was time to head back. Now, I've got to say, Milan's Bergamo airport is incredible. It's right at the foot of the Alps. Yeah, the weather was nowhere near as bad going back. The flight was pretty good. And that brings us to now, about an hour before the video goes live. Christmas Day. Yeah, what an experience that was. I mean, of course, I can't speak for the whole of Serie A. The quality of football, maybe it's not the greatest, and everybody knows that going into it. But the atmosphere, the stadiums, the surroundings, amazing. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks that you're going to enjoy this video on screen too, so maybe give it a watch. Anyway, this video was quite a long time in the making, so if you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one.